Happy Friday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of You've Gotta Be Sha Tinning Me. I am joined, as always, by the king of Sha Tin, the heir of Happy Valley, the Duke of Dubai, the master of Maidan, Mr. Matt Carlson. I don't know. I was just going with stuff, but how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay. I don't know if any of those are true. I'm trying to branch out and bet some New Zealand right now because I'm a degenerate, and
Oh.
they're offering some Whirlpool races. Shout out Whirlpool, please send me a hat. And that's not going so great because the pool was like $400. But yeah, it's something to do on a Saturday night rather than
that
Cat Pegasus or Friday night rather. So
that
almost Saturday
reminds
morning
me.
here, but
Yeah, that reminds me. The other day I was on Reddit. This was a couple weeks ago at this point, and it was some guys like, "Why did this pay so little?" And it was I forgot if it was, I think it was a pick three that he hit at Australia, and it was like a 20 to 1, a 15 to 1, and like a 12 to 1, and he only won like $40 or something, and he put like a $24 ticket in or something.
it's probably a
And
pool.
yeah, it was the pool. I forget what the exact numbers were. Maybe it was a little bit more, but like then people were trying to explain to him like, oh well, it's because a lot of people don't bet it, and like yeah, it was, yeah, the pool size does matter.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think obviously there's levels to it, right? I think if, as long as there's some money in there, like, some money is better than no money, but if it's a $80 pool, you don't want to be sinking $20 into it. But
Probably not. No. Yeah. No. I don't know. Australia's a weird one. Like I know they don't commingle pools at all, um, but I mean, just the fact that they offer it and the fact that they get probably about $1,000 in every pool every night is like they got to do something if they want to branch out. Maybe they don't care. They don't want to, but you know, you end up like those Japan pools. It's weird because like Japan gets what like on a random night, they'll maybe get $1,000 in a pool, and then over there, they're getting tens of millions of dollars in the pool. Like they're
yeah,
massive, but they don't want anything to do with branching out beyond their borders. So, but hopefully someday they commingle. Um, Maybe by the time U.S. racing is gone, we'll get commingled pools over there, and it won't matter. So, but
yeah, we'll see. If you're one of the people that like are waiting with bated breath for this coming out, this is probably coming out a couple hours later than normal. Unfortunately, I got held up at dinner. I was texting Matt. I told him before, I was like, hey, like I should be home by our normal recording time, but it was clear about an hour and 15 minutes into it. I was like, dude, our first course isn't even out yet. Um, and we had been there for over an hour. So he's like, all right. So obviously we're running a little late here. But the important stuff, I got a cocktail here in my lovely um, rare day glass. Um, Funny story. I went to, we were talking a little bit about my dinner experience and cocktails and stuff like that. But I went to this bar on Sunday out here near me. It was kind of it's weird. So it's like supposed to be like a members only place. Like there's an initiation fee in order to get like a membership to this place. And what do you think the initiation fee is?
ah, this could this could be anywhere. How fancy a place are we talking? Like when we say
I
members
mean,
only, are you talking like members only jacket style, or are you
I mean,
talking like
kind of a little
20/20
bit.
club? All
A
right.
little bit, but it's like a very nice cocktail bar. Some of the amenities that you get is you get like a locker to be able to keep your own like bottle of bourbon there if you wish. It's like a speakeasy style, so like it's in the basement of a restaurant, right? And right, you can bring two guests. There's no cover. There's access to the lounge. Like I said, you can keep 1 to 3 bottles there. And then they have like rooms and stuff you can like you get access to rent if you want and stuff like that. But what do you think the one-time joining fee is?
You're talking to me with 2 kids who, like, never leaves the house, so I'm gonna throw $100 out there. Price is Right style, that's probably low, but
That's very low. What's like the normal joining fee at like a country club?
dude, I have no like,
You know? Oh, you're not a golfer, or you're not that kind of
I
golfer.
am a golfer, I just, I know that that is way out of my price range, or at least, like, put it this way, someone around me was complaining at my hockey game because they hit his family up for a one-time additional $6,000 fee at the end of the year for just because they were out of money, and so they owed, like, an extra 6 on top of, I think is probably $20,000 a year to join a country club, so I mean, I don't know what fees and joining is at any of these places, but yeah, I would think for a cocktail club, what I would be willing to spend is $100. I'll put it that way. So I'm out. But I, how much are we talking to get into this place and give you the opportunity to drink in a room? Is what it sounds like to me. But
$5,000 with a $2,400 a year minimum spend. Now, the minimum spend, I was telling my wife, I was like, honestly, minimum spend, I don't hate, right? It's $200. Like, like I said, cocktails are probably between 16 and $25 depending. Like they have some fancy ones, like so I kind of replicated one that they had, which is just well, actually theirs was a Manhattan. I did an old fashioned, but it was actually with a bottle of bourbon that I have. It's like a special, or not a special, I guess it is special. So it's a cigar batch of Starlight, which is just Starlight bourbon aged in Amburana barrel. It gives it like the cinnamony kind of flavor. But anyways, they made a Manhattan with it. They smoked it with a cigar. So they gave cigar smoke to it and they brought it out to you like in a little box, right? Awesome. It was so good. I mean, it was just unbelievable. The cigar smoke was great, and like it was just really good. I mean, like it was basically like smoking a cigar and having a bourbon. I mean, like what more could you ask for? But it was great. It was an awesome cocktail. But obviously there's a ton of work in it, right? It was a $25 cocktail, whatever. But like that's like two times a month going out, right? Having a couple cocktails, you'll hit that minimum spend easy, right? Especially if like this is like supposed to be like your place to go, right? To like, but man, that $5,000 joining fee, oof, I don't know, I don't know who that's for, but it's not for me,
I mean,
especially
there's a lot of people with a lot of money out there. I get it. Like
that's
we were
true.
talking last week, right? Like maybe to some people, especially if you're networking or whatever, they're like 5 grand is you know a day's pay or something like that. To
Yeah.
me, I can drink a lot of bourbon and smoke a lot of cigars on my back porch. Like
Uh-huh.
that. And have 5 grand in my pocket, right? I can count some money and you know pour some brown liquor in a glass and have just as good a time. But that's me. So hey, teach their own.
Honestly, the place was great though. They're open to the public on Sunday, like you can just reserve, but then they also have openings like during the week that you can reserve. So like I don't really know. Like maybe business ain't that great to these $5,000 um like memberships that like you can get a Saturday night reservation. I don't know. I don't really know. But the place was actually really cool. But I
I'm
just thought
sure
I
it
thought
is.
that I thought that price I thought that price was wild because I'm like, dude, like because I was talking to my wife. I was like, if I had $5,000 to spend, well, she immediately said, "Yeah, you'd go to Vegas." And I'd be like, "No, like I'm just saying, like if I were to spend $5,000 on like a membership, like I can get a golf membership here at like not necessarily like a private place, but at a public course, I could get unlimited golf number of places for that much. It's like with a locker and everything. It's like I'd rather do that, right, than just but I don't know. So we're gonna start with the wheelchair fencing handicap here. We're gonna go uh 5 furlongs, 1,000 meters. And as usual, we got a nice full field here. We got 13 signed up for this race. And I'm gonna guess, Matt, I'm landing on probably the two shortest prices in this race. I don't think I'm getting super creative here. My top pick is the number 2 Super Fortune, who's coming in here off a win. Is posted mid pack, but more to the outside here, which generally on the 1,000-meter course is where you want to be. You get Matthew Poon aboard again. My concern might be the 9 pounds. I mean, that's quite a lot of weight to be to be gaining here. Was able to win last time at 118, but won by open lengths, won by 2 lengths. So I mean, I don't know what the pounds to lengths equation is, but my guess is that the 9 pounds probably brings this horse maybe back to the pack a little bit. But I don't know. I think this horse is coming in off of 3 straight good efforts, right? 2/3 and a win. Matthew Poon aboard again. So I don't know, I like Super Fortune here quite a bit as my top pick. And I mean, Zach Purton, first time starter, posted outside going 1,000 meters. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is just the Zach Purton simp move here, but this just smells like well meant horse here. Course draws perfectly, and first time up, and Zach gets aboard. So I have to use this 6 as well. But those are going to be the 2 horses I'm going to use here, the 2 and the 6. Matt, where did you land?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of against that too. If only because it's effort two back where it was on the outside rail, it wasn't able to win. And I do think, like you said, it's just picking up too much weight. And I don't think it slots over. I'm not a huge fan of betting these straight 5 furlong races. I don't know. They're just hard to map out, right? You're trying to predict who's going to get over to that rail, and I think what you tend to see is anyone who can kind of get that stand side rail just kind of inherently wins the race. Like it's not even like you're trying to cap horses. You're just trying to cap the first like 200 meters to see who can slot over the best and maybe
Matt,
who
have
can
you
take it out.
seen how I handicap races? I generally only handicap the first
That's all
200
you do anyway.
meters.
So these are perfect for you. You'll probably end up winning these. But yeah. So I just kind of took the 3 horses that'll get the outside rail. One of them is like you said, Zach on the 6 and Sparkling Fellow first up. I think that'll be an A for me. I did also like Dream Winner, the one. That horse is posted in the 12 posts, so just has 2 to get over. I do think some of the efforts have been okay. I do think if you've looked right, like it hasn't been able to get over to a decent spot in those 1,000-meter efforts. So I hope this time it kind of trips out a little bit better. I do think 2 things I look for, right? Not just hey, can you get the bias now, but how have they performed previously when they didn't run with that bias, right? They were kind of against it and stranded midfield. So I'll use that one, and then I do kind of want to use Fast Responder as a B, um, and Brittany Wong, on the bug. Like I've said it before, right? These 1,000-meter races, they tend to benefit lower weights more so than any other race, believe it or not, right? You'd think around a turn it would make more difference. And what I found is no, these 5 furlong straights are actually where you want to be lowest weight just because they can go and send. I'd make it a B just because I don't really think this horse can get the lead. And I think Brittany Wong is kind of a one trick jockey. I think she either needs the lead, and I don't think I've ever seen her kind of recover and pick up ground in these races. But hey, I do think, right, she is slotted on the rail. Hopefully she doesn't panic and get off of that rail. But there is a chance she just kind of rides it the whole way and can kind of get the horse home. Who's been lightly raced, right? Who hasn't really shown too much yet, but could be one of those improving types too. So I'll be 1-6 as A's and then the 5 as B's. And again, hopefully they just kind of all run in a straight line and that rail side bias kind of carries them home.
I'm gonna note that 5 because maybe that's one that does make my
You
ticket.
love Brittany Wong. You love the bugs. You
I love a
love.
Brittany. I just love a Brittany Wong horse. I mean, just yeah, give me all of it. I there we were talking before, and I was looking at some races, and I'm just like, oh, please tell me Brittany Wong's on this horse. Damn it, no, it's not. Um, but yeah, race 10 here, the para archery handicap. We're gonna be going 6 furlongs here, um, on the old turf track, and yeah, we got a field of 14 in this one. You got some lightly raced horses in here, so this should be an interesting one. I mean, I think the 6, the boombox, is probably pretty obvious. Probably going to be a pretty obvious favorite here, but Matt, where did you kind of land?
Yeah, I think I tried to get around the 6. I do think, you know, that horse is picking up a lot of weight, right? Last out it won, and it's dropping 5 pounds, but it's moving up in class. And when you move up in class, usually you end up dropping about 20 pounds. So just dropping 5 or 6 pounds is not a lot. That's a huge effort to move up. I think I almost singled this race, and I think I went to the 9 Lifeline Express, right? The effort last out you can kind of toss entirely, right? I mean, you could watch that replay. That horse was wide, and it ended up in a huge amount of trouble, right? It got blocked about 150 out, and I mean, it finished fourth. He probably could have finished second. I don't think he was ever winning that race, but just because of the trouble, right? I mean, it was a bad trip. You could just toss that entirely. Two back, that horse kind of closes into a very forward track, closes into a very slow pace, and gets a really good shows kind of a really good run, right? Like the horse that ended up winning was kind of on the lead the whole way, and this horse was kind of closing from the back. That's something that I do look for when I say these things. I see, okay, a horse that's able to close into a slow pace, kind of against the flow of the race. Um, you know, to me, all signs kind of point to this 9. Um, being able to put up a really good effort, and there should be speed to set up for him too this time. So that'll be kind of my lone A. I don't know what price you get on this horse, but I almost singled. Then I kind of backed off because I do think there's a couple others in here that I would want to use. Just kind of the angles, and I think there is one me horse in here that I'll get to last. But the other horses I really thought I could use as Bs, just at huge prices. One was the 14 Swagger Bro. I mean, anytime I kind of see a horse that's potentially improving, is at the lightest weight, is kind of had that fourth up angle. That's just kind of a confluence of things that I'm like, okay, I'll usually toss that horse in, no matter the circumstances, right? If you see a horse that's a little bit on the improve, that's hitting that fourth race, it's the lightest weight in there. There's just a lot of things that could go right. Not saying any of it will go right. This horse could potentially run out the back, I- you know, whatever. But I think you'll get a massive price, right? I mean, you're going to get a huge number, and those are the times that make your tickets, right? I mean, I think that's you only need one of those during the year to connect to kind of make your entire season. So I'll use Swagger Bro lightly as a B. The other horse that I'll go to that I've bet so many times that has never run a step is the one Wonder Star. I've been on this horse since he first ran up. I think he started in class 2, which was incredibly odd. The trials have always looked good, and the races have always looked horrific. He just has never run anything. But is that new horse of mine that I cannot get off, because as soon as I get off this horse, he's going to end up winning, right? So this horse is going to probably lose like 18 more races and be down in like class 5 in Happy Valley and finally win. And I'm going to lose so much money betting him all the way down, but I have to, because I do think there's a race in there at some point that this horse will win. So give me the one Wonder Star as a B. Just set some money on fire and keep betting it all the way down the class ladder.
Yeah, I'm taking the anti-mat, and I'm gonna use the chalk the 6 here, the boombox. Um, I mean, coming off 2 wins. Yeah, I mean, yeah, moving up in class, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think there's any world beaters in here. Um, I don't know what to do with the 3, Chateau Neuf. Zach Purton board here. Karis Seaton gets off. Zach gets aboard. So, my eyes are kind of like, huh, that's interesting. But does have a nice run two back. Kept on pretty well. Finished second to Storming Dragon by a neck. Does have a win 5 back. That kind of moved him or after moving up into class 3. Was a Happy Valley, like I said, for 4 of the last 5 starts. The Sha Tin start looks fine. Coming here, I'm a little concerned about the post, though. I'm drawn out in the 12 post. Now, obviously, if anyone's going to be able to work out a trip from the 12 post, it's going to be Zach Purton. So maybe that cancels out a little bit. But also, I'm not necessarily sure what price you're going to get on this. I mean, Z- Zach's just getting bet off the board like crazy. So um, I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this horse yet. But I think the other horse I'm going to use is going to be this too, Eris Nova. You get Hugh Bowman staying aboard here for the third time in a row, and this is just one of those horses that has like I mean the race two back. Um, Kind of got checked up, near the end, and didn't get a great trip. So maybe put a line through that. But if you kind of put a line through that, this just looks like a horse that's been improving, right? Lightly raced, 4 starts, has kind of run a little bit better each time. Gets Hugh Bowman aboard here, and last time, like I said, finished third. Third had a nice closing kick there, a pretty decent closing fraction, that 22.65. So yeah, this is one that I kind of like here with Hugh Bowman aboard. And I think this is just an improving type. So I'm just expecting a little bit another step forward from that last time out, fifth start here at Happy Valley. And yeah, I just think that this might be the time for Eris Nova. You got 20 to 1 last time, so I'm guessing you're still going to maybe get a bit of a price here, even with Hugh Bowman aboard. So um, yeah, I like Eris Nova here, and then I like the 6, the Boombox. Anything else on this race before we move on?
I like when you're different than me, right? It gives us
Yeah,
opportunity. Just like last week when I was like, "This horse is gonna burn me," and
it
you
burned
ended up
you.
taking it, and it burned me.
Yeah,
But
and then something else burned me. I don't remember. I forgot how I lost last week. But
I think it was that
you
middle
got
leg, but
yeah, I think it was. But you got to have a short memory for this stuff, especially if you're making content. Uh, Race 11, the Paralympic value, 1,650-meter handicap. Obviously, this is like Paralympics Day or something here at Hong Kong. And yeah, we're ending this with an all weather race, which is not something that
yeah.
I was gonna say it's not something we talk about a lot. And then I think we went like 3 weeks in a row where we picked like our bonus race being an all weather race. So maybe we do talk about all weather racing a lot here.
Speaking of
But
short memories, though, we're not gonna talk about the results of those races, which is probably
no,
where we stopped. But
yeah, yeah, we learned our lessons there. Um, yeah, and so this was kind of a tough race because you know I think you have I don't know. These all weather races get tough because it's like the anti Bob Baffert, right? Bob's given up on a horse when he runs it on turf. Well, I mean, people in Happy Valley and or people in Hong Kong are not buying horses to run them on the all weather dirt track. They're buying turf horses. So when they're turned into these dirt races, it's a bit of a hail mary, and you get a couple of these horses that haven't necessarily run all that well on turf or just inconsistently. And now maybe they're trying turf or dirt for the first time, second time, and I mean, you get horses like the 9 Glorious Success, who I think is super interesting because this is a horse that run very well 3 times out. And it's like now that, okay, why are you running this horse here in this spot? Um, I kind of took, I think, the proven all weather horses here in the 1 and the 5. I really, really like the 5 Young Brilliant in this race, and obviously, like, I'm probably way too late to the party. I didn't go to the wedding, but I'm probably going to the funeral here with Young Brilliant. One last time at 44 to 1. Was this one that you had? Or was that a different
uh,
44 to 1 horse you had?
I have no, I don't think I didn't hit
No?
any 44 to ones on dirt. I'll put it that way. So
Okay. Um, but I love this. Inside drawn speed on the dirt. Obviously had a win last time out. And like what's really interesting about this horse, right? How often do you see a horse win at 34 to 1, go off at 20 to 1 next time, then 37 to 1 the time after that, then win again at 44 to 1? It's like, okay, yeah, he won at 34 to 1. He ain't winning anymore. And he comes back and he just booms everybody. So I don't think we're getting 20 to 1. I don't think we're getting, I mean, maybe we're getting 12 to 1 or 10 to 1 or something. But um, I do think that being inside drawn and having the tactical speed that this horse has, I think it's just going to be an advantage. So I'm hoping that maybe we get a little wire action here on the 5 Young Brilliant, and then the 1 Talent's Ambition. I mean, this is probably your chalk. and Hugh Bowman's ridden this one the last two times to pretty decent effect. A win out in the 11 post, third last time in the race that Young Brilliant won. But maybe he's drawn even further outside, so maybe this is a time to kind of fade the one here. But maybe I'm too late. I already wrote an A next to it. I don't have an eraser, so we might stick with it. Obviously, the other horse that's kind of interesting in here is the Zach Purton horse. Um, is run well enough on the all weather, but I know I left that one off my ticket. I left the horse like the 9 off my ticket. So my guess is you either hate both those or you got both those on your ticket. So Matt, where did you land?
It's funny, I went to 2 different horses that you didn't talk about at all,
Oh, there we go. Good.
and, I mean, I would say all weather, right? I mean, like you said, these are not my favorite races to cap. I think I tend to probably just rely on figures and go straight from there, and I do look a lot more at trials too when it comes to all weather. I do think they run more trials on all weather than they do races, and it's just a better indicator of, like, form, and you can kinda just take the times and, you know, say, "Hey, just, which horse looks fastest," right? Just kinda cap it like dirt, and don't worry about race shape so much, don't worry about post position so much, just say, "Hey, bet the fastest horse," and I hope that works, right? Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but the 2 horses that I went to because of that, I think are, the 4M Unicorn, who hasn't run on all weather this season yet. The last time he ran on all weather was pretty poor effort, but I think it had a fair number of excuses. And actually, the race before that did win from a very wide draw. So, uh, again, I do think there's some all weather form in here. I think it's kind of been muddied up because this season is only run on turf, and the all weather trials I think look pretty fast. So I do think just looking for value, this is one that stood out to me. Again, has a win on the surface, so hey, maybe right. And the other horse I went to who actually hasn't run at 1650 at all, but has run pretty well at 1200 was the 10 Must Go. Uh, Again, I don't know how well this horse is going to run around 2 turns. It actually, I think, did run 2 turns in December. It looks like, and that didn't go so well, but it was caught wide. It tried to kind of chase 3 wide, and I think the race, if it slots in a little bit better, it could be better this time around than just saying, "Hey, that horse doesn't want the full distance." So those are the 2 I went to. I think I was with you in saying, Glorious Success doesn't really look like a dirt horse to me. I do think that kind of looks like an effort to keep the horse's weight down and kind of send it backwards, because when you have a horse that's finishing second and third and not winning, what happens is you move up in weight, you start trying to move up in class, and then you can't compete. And so that horse isn't going to have any easier time winning. At a higher weight if it can't win at lower weights. So I think to me this looks like one you slot on dirt intentionally to say, hey, run a dud and hopefully they move you back down 3 or 4 pounds. And same with Zach's horse. I thought that horse was okay, but Zach's going to take a lot of money for the fact that Zach is probably an average dirt jock here, right? He's about 10% when it comes to running on dirt, and everyone else has just as much of a chance as him. Whereas every other surface or every other like turf race, he's upwards of like 30%, right? So if you're ever going to take an opportunity to beat Zach, I think it's on the dirt, because I think he gets bet like he's the best jockey that he is. Um, but just it's a lot closer than you think on dirt. So I'll probably just be too wide. I'll probably go 4 and 10. And if somebody else beats me, it's probably no surprise. You could probably make an excuse to just say hit the all button here and you know cash a ticket if you're through the first 2 legs. But that'll be where I go, just because again, I don't know how better to cap dirt than just bet speed.
Um, where'd you land for your bonus race?
I went to the class 2 race, the first class 2 race in race 3, which is a pretty light field, not the best field, but taking a shot in there. So I think so. No one in here really stood out to me. I think the logicals in here are probably like the 3 Karma and the 6 Voyage Samurai. I think maybe the Golden Scenery takes money too, although that horse is probably going off like 10 pounds higher than everyone else. So I actually went up to 2 Woodfire Bro. Woodfire Bro has been running around 2 turns consistently, right? That horse, it's been running at Happy Valley. He's been running to the 2000 at Sha Tin. And I think, eh, when you look at the record, even though this horse hasn't run there in a while, he's never missed a board going 1600. He's got a win and a second, granted at lower classes, but those mile races actually look pretty good. And I do think a lot of horses in here just probably aren't milers either. And so, I think I'm going to take a chance on Woodfire Bro and say, hey, he can kind of sit that stocking trip. He's not going to get a bad trip because there's only 8 horses running in here, so the draw really doesn't matter. And take a shot, right? I think this horse could be on form, and I like the cutback a bit. So, hopefully get a decent price on him, and hopefully show something that he really hasn't been doing in a while, and can, catch a win.
Yeah, I actually took the race just before. I went to race 2, the para table tennis 1400 handicap here, and I think I'm probably taking what's going to end up being a short price. I think I don't think you're going to get a huge price, but maybe you get 3-1, 4-1, somewhere around there. This 13 Regency Happy Star. Um, I took a look at this race, and it didn't seem like there was really all that much speed. The 9 Woodfire Champ is probably the only other kind of speed horse that might be in here. Um, he had a couple races, 4 or 5 back where he led or was on the lead, but it seems like lately they've been kind of pulling that horse back. So I don't really know what the tactics are going to be there. Um, so I think there's just a good chance that this 13 kind of does similar to what he did last time and just kind of sits a nice trip. And gets there on the front end and maybe just gets a little, either gets a slow pace or is left up there by himself just on um just a bit of a loose lead. And he's only gaining 6 pounds off that win, which I don't really think is all that much, especially in class 5, to win in class 5 and only gain 5 pounds. So you're getting drawn similarly to as last time too. Like you're in the 9 post, which isn't great, but like I said, there's just not a lot of speed, so it might be pretty easy for Regency Happy Star to kind of get on the rail, and maybe wire, or if not, just sit just off the pace, kind of like he did last time. So I like Regency Happy Star here. Like I said, I would love to get like 4-1, 5-1 on this horse. We'll see what kind of price we get though.
There you go. Play a double between our 2 bets, guaranteed to cash.
Guaranteed the cash. Why? Because yours is going to run second, and you get the Consi.
Yeah, I get twice the chance you do. So,
well, it's going to do it for us here, and you've got to be Sha Tinning me. Obviously, check us out at onthewronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. Matt is at Slow and Steadied. He'll be posting his full card thoughts on the rest of the card there, and we'll keep in touch on this crazy. I know. What do we say? There's like a Thursday this month or something.
Yeah,
something
it's their Chinese New Year card is coming up into Friday morning, I think. So
yeah,
should be good racing.
We'll figure something out, and we'll get some content out for you guys. But good luck, and let's make some money.